I don't think politicians understand how much the issue of illegal immigration frustrates South Africans. I honestly don't think these people have an idea how much this issue frustrates South Africans. I believe they think it is one of those issues that South Africans maybe are complaining about. Few people are talking about it online, but it is not something that really bothers the South Africans. Man, it shows you that politicians are out of touch with reality. It shows you. You remember last time Julius Malema once said that illegal immigrants must find creative ways of entering South Africa. A whole president of a third biggest party in the country, he says that people who do not have the papers to be inside of this country must find creative ways of entering the country. Today, we have a situation where we have millions and millions and millions and millions of illegal immigrants into the country. They are doing as they please, and nothing has been done about that. You remember last time in Johannesburg, a building caught fire. Over 80 people lost their lives. 80 people lost their lives. And that building was hijacked by illegal immigrants. They hijacked the building. You turn it into informal settlements. You rent the place out, and suddenly this guy is a landlord. And there is nothing that the government of Johannesburg or government of other cities can do about it. Why? Because they have human rights lawyers that are making it impossible for the government to do anything about it. So don't you think illegal immigrants can see that, in South Africa it's like that? I can go to South Africa, hijack a building, turn it into informal settlement, rent the place out, and suddenly I'm a landlord, and there's nothing the government can do about it. Then, man, it's open season. This is why illegal immigrants are doing as they please in South Africa, is because they understand that it is open season into the country. Average South Africans, man, I don't know for how long, average South Africans have been complaining about these people that are surrounding their townships. South Africans have been complaining about these Somalis, Bangladeshis guys that are all over our neighborhoods. Man, at this point, the spaza shops does no longer belong to black South Africans. Back in the days, man, maybe a decade or 2 decades back, the spaza shops in our neighborhoods, they were owned by black South Africans. That was the business for black South Africans, but not now. Not now. All the spaza shops right now in our neighborhoods are owned by these guys who come from Somalia, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and other countries. The spaza shop business right now into the country no longer belongs to South Africa. And you know that these people, most of them, they are making their own products. They are making their own products in their own backyards. Guys, there are so many videos showing us these people making up their own cold drink, their own bread, their own grandpa, panado, and they take this stuff to our neighborhoods and they sell this stuff to our people into the neighborhoods. Now people are getting sick in our neighborhoods. You remember, guys, in the past month, I think we've lost 8 children after eating the snacks that come from these people's shops. 8 children lost their lives, and the president said nothing about that. 8 children lost their lives, and the president said nothing about that. It is so frustrating to listen to these people, man. You remember the last time the president of the ANC Youth League, he said that the African National Congress must do something about the issue of illegal immigrants. He said that the African National Congress must never allow a situation where illegal immigrants are basically invading South Africa, because if you don't think this is invasion, this is invasion. What the illegal immigrants are doing to South Africa right now, it is invasion. The president of ANC Youth League was going around and telling people that, man, the ANC needs to step and act against illegal immigration. He's telling the people that. And I'm frustrated by that statement, because I'm like, man, how can you tell the African National Congress to do something about illegal immigration when African National Congress supports ZANU-PF? You know what ZANU-PF does to the average citizens of Zimbabwe. Today, Zimbabweans are scattered all over the world. They are treated like second-class citizens because ZANU-PF is mistreating them into their own country. Zimbabweans cannot even enjoy living into their own country because they have an evil regime in Zimbabwe that is making things impossible for everyone. And the president of South Africa supports that. So how can the president of ANC Youth League go around telling people that ANC must step up against illegal immigration when the president of the African National Congress supports ZANU-PF?
When Operation Tutula was getting very famous in South Africa, and Nhlanhla Lux was becoming like this young, roaring lion of a leader.
Yes.
I made a couple of Facebook Live videos where I shared my views around foreigners and illegal foreigners in South Africa. It wasn't an easy view to have, and a lot of people didn't understand, and I had to keep trying to explain, and they didn't get it. Because sadly, most South Africans are binary in their thinking. It's black or white. Are you pro or against? Cannot be nuanced in their thinking. Get it? Because sadly, most South Africans are binary in their thinking. It's black or white. Are you pro or against? Cannot be nuanced.
I know that Penuel is not going into this statement, but guys, this statement is very profound to me. Because this is how people communicate these days. This is how people debate these days. Today, the political discourse, man, is one of the most frustrating discourses ever. Because people cannot sit and discuss solutions. People cannot sit and debate about issues without involving race. This is how South Africans are like. It's either you are pro-black or you are pro-white. If you say anything against black people, no, you are pro-white. If you say anything against white people, yeah, you are pro-black. This is how South Africans are. And this is why it is so frustrating today. Because me, as a young person, I cannot even sit with young people and discuss politics without them involving race in every single thing. For me to discuss politics, I have to go to people who are actually mature enough to set some of the things aside, because you know that we have to discuss each case on its merit. But this is not how politics is discussed in South Africa. You talk to average young people in this country, man. It's either pro-white or pro-black. It's either pro-black or pro-white. You can't say anything, man. You can't even be critical of your own community. You see today, a lot of people are calling me, Thomas, we know you are anti-black, man. Why? Because I'm critical of my own community. Don't black people think that all of the great races in the world right now were critical of their own race? Don't you think that the Afrikaners were critical of their own race? This is why today they are succeeding. Don't you think the Chinese were very critical of their own race? And this is why they are succeeding today. I can make examples about the Indians and all sorts of races. These people were critical about their own race. This is why their race today, it is succeeding. It's because they are not scared to speak the truth. They are not scared to challenge the stereotypes. But no, this is not the issue with the black people. As the moment you start being critical to black people, then you are anti-black people. When you are critical to black people, you are anti-black people. People cannot say, yeah, you are critical to black people because you want what's best for black people. Man, I want what's best for black people. I want black people to stop being idiots who listen to politicians lying to them every year about giving them promises that they never deliver. I don't want black people to listen to that. And now people are listening to politicians. Guess why? Because politicians are black. Politicians are black. This is the reason why the DA has never won the election in this country. Why? Because no matter what the African National Congress does, the DA, when people look at the DA, the first thing that comes to their minds is that the DA is a white party. I cannot vote for a white party, man. I don't care if the African National Congress destroys the state-owned entities. I don't care if unemployment rate goes up under the African National Congress. I don't care if crime goes out of control. I don't care, man. I don't care. I'm just gonna keep voting for the African National Congress. Why? Because these people are black and these people are white. And knowing the country and knowing the history of the country, I cannot vote for white people. This is how people think in this country. This is how they think. And I'm frustrated. I'm so frustrated, man. I'm so frustrated. I'm frustrated because I believe that as people, man, there's a lot that we can discuss without involving race. Of course, we're going to talk about race there and then. But that doesn't mean that every single thing that we have to discuss, we have to involve race in it. Why? Why must we do that? Because that thing, it is holding us back. The ANC is using the same excuse today. They're telling you about apartheid. Why? Because the whole black and white thing, it matters to black people. It matters. The whole apartheid rhetoric, it will always be relevant to black people. Why? Because the issue of black versus white, it like that is what's relevant to these people. They don't care about their daily lives. They don't care about the fact that their children right now, they are being miseducated. Right now, children are finishing matric. You find someone who finished matric last year. They can't even speak. They can't even write. They can't even say nothing under the ANC government. The people are okay with that. People are okay with their children getting that kind of education. People are okay with their neighborhoods being unsafe. People are okay with the state-owned entities crumbling down. They are okay with all the firms leaving South Africa, unemployment rate going up, and everything crumbling in South Africa, as long as they keep voting for a black government. This is what they want. And you wonder why people like me are so frustrated. You wonder why people like me are so frustrated. Man, you know, if we were to sit down and try to come up with solutions to fix South Africa, I mean, I wouldn't care that I'm sitting next to an Indian guy. I wouldn't care that I'm sitting next to a Muslim man. I don't care that I'm sitting next to an Afrikaner. As long as we bring solutions that are going to put this country forward, that's what I care about. But this is not what people care about. This is not how people think in this country. You can see Penuel on his face. He knows that, man, this thing is so frustrating. You can't say anything right now without being accused of being pro this side or against this side. You can't say anything right now.
I'm going to start off by trying to articulate my views on foreigners and illegal foreigners. Legal foreigners, legal, here, got all the right documentation, went through all the right channels. They work here, they run businesses here. They are as much South African as anyone else. I have zero issues with foreigners that came in through the right channels. We can later on speak about whether they are here for skills that are not scarce, which channels they have, etc., etc. The visas, the passports, work permits, which are a headache, and they keep us from growing a global economy, specifically on the African continent that is throttled by some of this bureaucracy, which is rubbish. So legal foreigners, no issue at all.
And speaking of legal foreigners, people who came into the country legally with all the documentations, do you know why I feel for these people? It's because people who came into this country illegally are making it things hard for people who are in this country legally. You know, when people are protesting and burning things around and chanting, we want to get rid of illegal foreigners, people who are inside the country legally, they end up being victims of this sort of stuff. You are into the country legally, you have all your papers, but guess what? When people protest and scream that we want to get rid of illegal foreigners into our townships and neighborhoods, this is like the people who are in the country legally, they end up being the victims of that. This is why I hate illegal immigration so much, because some people, they take effort, they get proper documentation to be inside of South Africa. They take effort, they take time, they take energy, they spend money to get proper documentations to be in South Africa. Then you have people who come into the country illegally. And when these people who come into the country illegally do bad things, people who are in the country with the documents, they end up being victims of South Africans, or victims when people start protesting and getting rid of people. This is why I hate illegal immigration so much, because illegal immigrants are making it hard for people who are in the country with documents. They are making it hard for them.
Illegal foreigners. I'm going to try and simplify it. I have personally, I have no issues with illegal foreigners. Most illegal foreigners that I have met personally are really, really good people. I know they are in the country illegally. I probably should be reporting them, but I don't work for the police. I don't work for immigration. If they were criminals, of course I would report them as any other criminal, including South Africa.
But how would you know they are criminals or they are not criminals? How would you know? How would you know? Because just because someone is good to you, just because someone smiles with you and greets you nice, it doesn't mean that is the nice person. You can say that I know illegal immigrants who came into the country, and most of them that I know are good people. How do you know that they are good people? How do you know that they are not committing the crime? You don't live with them. You don't live with them. You don't even know who these people are. They can tell you that I'm Emmanuel, for God's sake. You think that person is Emmanuel. How do you know those people are good people? And how do you know that they are not criminals? They are in the country illegally to start with. That is a criminal offense. Being in South Africa illegally, that is criminal. So you can't tell me these people are in the country illegal, but there's nothing illegal about them. They are illegal. If you are in the country illegal, there is something wrong about you, man. Do you think you can go to Russia or China, get in the country illegally, then everything is good because you haven't committed any crimes? Being in that country illegally is committing a crime.
African criminals. But like I said, most of them that I know are good people. They run trading businesses, they run other businesses. They give back to the communities they work in. They donate to the churches, they donate to sports teams, in particular soccer. They create jobs for South Africans. And generally, they have good morals. outside of the fact that they are in South Africa illegally, and they have good morals. I get along with people like that. I can.
But guys, is there such a thing, man? I don't know if I'm being shallow-minded when it comes to this whole thing, because I believe that if you come into the country illegally, there's no way you're gonna have good intentions if you come into the country illegally. Am I being shallow-minded by thinking that people who come into the country illegally don't have any good intentions for the country? I find it hard to believe that someone that would swim, that would skip the border has any good intentions for the countryman. I believe that if you really have good intentions for the country and you want to contribute to this country, man, I believe that you should do things in a proper way. I believe that as much time that it takes, get your documents so that you are in the country legally. Because even if you open a business, where is that person getting the documentations to open the business? Because they are not in the country legally. How is their business operating if these people are in the country illegally? Guys, am I being shadow-minded to think that the people who are in the country illegally don't have any good intentions for the country?
Work with people like that. As a Penuelist, I care about good people. Regardless of nationality, regardless of race, regardless of gender. I care about good people. And some of these illegal foreigners are good people. They just happen to be here illegally, which is a crime. But again, they are meant to be agencies to deal with those things.
Honestly, guys, I don't know if I'm being shadow-minded, man. Please tell me if you think I'm being shadow-minded. Because Penuel says that some of these guys, they have businesses. They employ South Africans. So how can you employ South Africans, man, with what documentations? With what documentations? Are you paying tax? Are you... you see?
Not everything that is legal is right. Not everything that is legal is right. I made a TikTok video to articulate this point. Slavery
was legal.
It was not right. Apartheid
was legal.
And the forced removals of black people and relegating them into townships was legal. That was not right. There are so many things today that we call legal that are not right. In the same breath, things that are illegal, moving across Africa, and because there are borders, it is now illegal. It's arguable whether that's right or wrong, and that's not for me to say.
But the thing is that the law is the law. The law is the law. Like you said, man, like the apartheid law, man, was the law. Whether you like the law or you didn't like the law was the law. Just like today, the law today is the law. Whether you like the law today or you don't like the law today, at the end of the day, the law is the law. So we have to abide by the law. We have to abide by the law.
What I want to say is this. We currently have laws in this country which are meant to preserve and protect ordinary South Africans. And the idea of allowing illegal foreigners here is not in the best interest of South Africans. So when Julius Malema and the EFF, and when Musi Maimane and Bossa, and when other people try to protect illegal foreigners, it is very upsetting for the average South African who is poor, black, lives in a township, lives in an informal settlement, because they have to live amongst illegal foreigners that come here. They may not necessarily, contrary to Julius Malema being patronizing, they're not necessarily stealing a job, that if you got rid of them, automatically South Africans would have jobs. It doesn't work like that. But if you were to get rid of illegal foreigners, it does open a gap in the market for certain jobs. Gardening, a lot of gardeners are illegal foreigners. Waitering and waitressing, a lot of waiters and waitresses are illegal foreigners. Spaza shops in this country are run by a lot of illegal foreigners, if not almost all of them. And there are certain other spaces. It could be removals, trucking, moving furniture. It could be driving Ubers and the like. A lot of those people are illegal foreigners. If you were to get rid of them, those spaces would open up. Would South Africans, ordinary South Africans, take up those jobs? We don't know. Would income inequality?
Of course they would, man. Of course they would. You know, man, at this point, people are desperate, man. They would. People are taking any jobs right now. Just go on social media, man. You will see people saying that, guys, if you have anything, if you want me to wash your blankets, if you want me to clean your sofas, if you want me to do your curtains, people are asking for all sorts of jobs. So this notion, this EFF notion that if all the foreigners leave, South Africans will never take those jobs, man, it is nonsense. South Africans, man, are desperate. Young people in this country are desperate. You don't think, like right now, man, you can see, if there's any post, it doesn't matter, man, that post is about the cleaning or it's about what, you will find 300, 400 people commenting there, man. You know, if they are being told to drop their CVs, if they're being told to drop their CVs on the comment sections, man, you'll find 1,000 CVs there. I also do digital marketing for a waste management company. I do digital marketing for a waste management company. So sometimes I do the posters when we need people, when we need truck drivers, you know, when we need people, when we need general people. I'm the one who is responsible for doing those kind of posters and for promoting these people on social media. I'm telling you that, man, each and every job, no matter how small you think it is, if that job goes online, if the post goes online, you're going to see thousands and thousands of people, man. And thousands of people applying for that work, man. I remember last time we needed 2 truckers, we needed 2 truck drivers. So I made that post and I said, guys, you know, I don't want us to only base here in the Free State. How about we post it on Twitter? You know, Twitter has people from all over the place. And I regretted that because after a week, man, we had thousands and thousands of CVs. We had thousands and thousands of people had sent their CVs because they want to be truck drivers. So this notion that if illegal immigrants leave and if they drop, if these jobs that they are working today, they leave, South Africans will never take those jobs. Man, it is a lie. South Africans are desperate. South Africans will take those jobs. They would. In a heartbeat, they would. The EFF simply doesn't want to admit that, man, South Africans right now, they're being suffocated. Penuel has already told you, man, like from the restaurants to the Ubers to the drivers it's all illegal immigrants. And we are being told that illegal immigrants are not stealing the jobs of South Africa. The EFF is honestly telling people that illegal immigrants are not stealing the jobs of South Africa. Then you have people, unemployed people, following the EFF and this notion that illegal immigration are doing nothing in terms of the jobs in South Africa. It's unbelievable.
Change, we don't know. But the reality is those jobs are being enacted by illegal foreigners. And the average South African is saying, foreigners can come here, but they must go through the right channels. And most of them are not, and therefore they must be deported. They must be removed.
That's how I feel.
And when Musi Maimane and other people say things like, but some of these people that are here have got families, let's say a foreign man has married a South African woman, and now they have children, what must happen? And I said to him, South Africans are saying that person must leave. They're not here legally. They must go.
It doesn't matter if they are in this country. It doesn't matter if they are in this country. It doesn't matter if they have children in this country. If South African women are going to give these people kids so that these people can now be South Africans men, these South African girls must live with them. We need to be bold when it comes to this whole thing, because we are not being honest, man. We are not being straightforward. If these people are going to come to South Africa and start making children with South African women must live with these people. South Africa cannot absorb these people because what? Because they are making babies all over the place. No.
Leave. They're not here legally. They must go. The South African woman can stay or she can travel with him. The children can stay or travel with him. But the person must come through the right channels. We cannot feel sorry for them because they committed a crime. Because once we do that, you know, Musi Maimane, Julius Malema, anyone else, the Helen Suzman Foundation, that is going to speak about humanitarian and the humanity, that means they are willing to numb and turn a blind eye to certain laws in this country if they deem them correct. And who decides? We've got Phala Phala and the money that was stashed in cultures. We've had Marcus Jooste and Steinhoff. We've got taxi violence. We've got gangs in Cape Town and. Are you going to say, don't arrest this person? Don't confiscate that. Don't fine this person.
Of course.
Because they are human first. They've committed a crime that discriminates against the average tax-paying, law-abiding South African citizen. So for illegal foreigners, unfortunately, according to our immigration laws, these people must be deported. They do not have legal refugee status. They have not been legalized as South Africans. They must be deported. It is a law. And if you're saying no, we must relook that law again, go through the right channels and change it. Otherwise, you are saying that law must be applied selectively, which is what ANC corrupt leaders do, which is what other corrupt people in this country, including business people, do. The Helen Suzman Foundation is proving to be this very, very powerful NGO that is not putting South Africans first. Then why must South Africans protect and preserve the Helen Suzman Foundation?
Exactly.
Clearly, it is not putting South Africans first, and it is discriminating, and we need to call out who is funding them, what is their agenda. Understanding that a lot of business people, a lot of ordinary poor black South Africans, they buy from spaza shops. They get their head done from illegal foreigners. They go and they get a back room built by illegal foreigners. They hire waiters, waitresses, basic employees, gardeners, who are illegal foreigners. They are complicit in the crimes. Myself, every time I buy from a spaza shop that is owned by a foreigner, I'm probably being involved in a criminal act. Every time I get in an Uber, which is maybe driven by an illegal foreigner, I'm complicit in an illegal act. But it is not my fault. The people that are responsible for illegal foreigners in this country are the ANC-led government. The ANC has not built strong borders from our African brothers and sisters. We do not have strong borders, number one. We do not have strong immigration at the airports. We have actually been finding illegal people coming into the airports with the wrong documentation. They pay bribes, etc. This includes the shipping ports, the harbors. They are not strong. And then there's rampant corruption at the border gates. There's rampant corruption at home affairs, where illegal foreigners come here, pay bribes, and they get IDs. And all of a sudden they're earning SASSA grants. All of a sudden they're getting RDPs, etc., etc. There is rampant corruption, and it is because of the ANC government. They are number one responsible for the fact that we have illegal foreigners in this country, and there are people that are not following the law. Africans, Asians, Europeans, Americans, North and South Americans that are here in this country illegally and should be found and should be deported. Get rid of them. They should not be here. They need to come in through the right channels.
Yes.
And if you feel that our laws are incorrect, challenge them. Take them to Parliament, have discussions, get a white paper, get a green paper, and get the laws enacted and remove the borders. Or say that, look, if you're African, if you have an African passport, you can travel in and out of South Africa as you please. If you're on a spaza shop because you're offering a service to ordinary South Africans, we'll legalize you as a South African citizen, or we'll legalize you as a legal foreigner, whatever the case may be. But do not say we must turn a blind eye to crime just because you feel that we must put humanity first. It is wrong. And the ordinary South African needs to raise this as a very, very important point when it comes to voting in the national elections in 2024.
Man, it is already an important issue, man. I can guarantee you that it's already an important issue. That's why I said, man, for the longest time, I've seen people support the EFF. I've seen people saying that, okay, we support the EFF, we support the ANC. But when it comes to this issue of illegal foreigners, for the past 2 years, people have been skeptical about these two political parties. That when it comes to illegal foreigners, this whole thing of you guys advocating for illegal foreigners, and the reason is because, man, I will say it again, these people, they don't have to share anything with illegal foreigners. They don't have to live with illegal foreigners. They don't have to share hospital bills with illegal foreigners. They don't have to compete for jobs with illegal foreigners. They don't have to, they don't have to do anything with illegal foreigners. Their only job is to advocate for the illegal foreigners to come into the country. Illegal foreigners come into the country. In South Africa, every South Africans will have to bear the consequences of that. Guys, please tell me what you think on the comment section, man. Don't forget to hit that like button. And the most important part is subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabaso, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.